On the 23rd day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a nice trip to a place in Ochi. I almost got it, and that's my own rendition. But we're just 2 days away from Christmas, and many more days to explore what our island offers. If your trip isn't Ochi, it could be a public garden. And besides, if you stick with us, you'll get your own personal, vicarious experience of that natural space and much more. Hi everyone, I'm Theodore Henry. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine.
My job is to ensure that every man, woman and child maintain good health at all times.
Our primary function is to ensure that government services are delivered effectively and efficiently.
We are building forward
together.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, December 23. Jamaica is being hailed as the next big destination for Nigerian tourists following the arrival of the first non-stop flight between the two countries. The flight from Nigeria to Jamaica, carrying approximately 140 passengers on board, touched down at the Sangster International Airport in St. James Monday night.
It is going to be the start of many more good things.
Absolutely.
And it is opportune that you're here because we, from the Ministry of Transport and Mining, have been looking at a supply for buses. And our research persons indicated that some very good buses at extremely low prices and good quality is available from Nigeria.
Nigerians are big travelers, like Jamaicans also, but we're huge tourists and travelers. We just feel that this is a gold mine, a gem that is waiting to be discovered by the majority of Nigerians. And I think that once Nigerians, discover this, you will be seeing us.
It is an indication of the true depth of our appreciation of this flight and the potential that it holds between Nigeria and Jamaica. Not only the manufacturing of vehicles, not only the holding of weddings, but a true meeting of South-South cooperation.
The inaugural flight included passengers from Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. The next direct flight between Jamaica and Nigeria is expected in 2 months. Jamaican seafarers are now able to serve on Kenyan-flagged vessels, while Kenyan seafarers can now serve on Jamaican-flagged vessels. This follows a memorandum of understanding signed recently between the Maritime Authority of Jamaica and the Republic of Kenya. The agreement will allow reciprocal recognition of the standards of training, certification, and watchkeeping (STCW) certificates for seafarers. Under the STCW Convention, a joint committee will review the implementation of undertakings, conduct joint studies in the field of maritime transport, and facilitate discussions of maritime safety, security, education, and training. Jamaica now has undertakings for the recognition of certification with 19 countries, including the United Kingdom. With approximately 400 road fatalities since the start of the year, the Jamaica Constabulary Force is encouraging motorists to use the road carefully during the holiday season. Head of the force's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, Senior Superintendent of Police Gary McKenzie, says additional members have been dispatched to help with road congestion and to enforce the national curfew and other legal mandates.
We as police officers, we are doing our best to ensure that we have very few congestion points along the roadways, especially within the corporate area and other townships across the island, because we know that apart from the delay in traffic, we will have more exposure to street crimes.
SSP McKenzie was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. He pointed out that local statistics showed that drinking was a common cause of road fatalities during this time of the year, while warning that persons who breach the law by having excess alcohol while driving would face prosecution. SSP McKenzie encouraged the Jamaicans to drink responsibly. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Constabulary Force is appealing to business operators and individuals to be vigilant and report suspicious activities. The appeal follows an increase in fraudulent activities related to point-of-sale POS machines. The JCF says there have been several reports of POS machines being stolen from business establishments. As a result, business operators are being urged to not leave POS machines unattended. Operators are also being asked to not give machines to customers without paying attention and verify that the machine belongs to the establishment before using it. As for customers, the JCF says they should check receipts after transactions to ensure the POS cost is correct. They should also sign up with their financial institutions to get alerts on transactions and also keep credit or debit cards in sight. Fraudulent POS transactions may be reported to the Fraud Squad at 876-971-3346, the Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Courtney Williams, has been appointed chairman of the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, NATFATIP. Mr. Williams succeeds Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology, Carol Palmer. In a release Tuesday, Mr. Williams pledged to provide the task force with sufficient resources to undertake critical activities. As chairman, Mr. Williams will oversee the work being done to prevent trafficking in persons, protect victims, and prosecute offenders in accordance with the National Plan of Action for Combating Trafficking in Persons. He will also assess existing mechanisms and propose other innovative ways to tackle the crime of human trafficking. And finally, small farmers who occupy lands at Long Pond in Trelawney will be allowed to continue their farming activities. This after Agriculture Minister Floyd Green intervened in a land dispute involving the small farmers, the All-Island Jamaica Cane Farmers Association, Everglades Farms Limited, and SCJ Holdings Jamaica. Minister Green held talks with the stakeholders on Monday, where the parties agreed to allow small farmers to remain on the lands free of interference. The parties also agreed to a framework that will see the Long Pond lands being put to productive use. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
On our roads, remember, take time, be courteous, drive good, walk good. Don't drink alcohol and drive. Don't drive tired or sleepy. Don't tailgate and don't overtake unless it is safe to do so. And always drive at a speed which will allow you time to stop quickly and safely. Let's keep it safe on our roads.
Here's today's first gift to you, a thorough walk through some of the island's national and natural treasures. With so much beauty, serenity, and history wrapped together, here's a trip to the Cinchona and Hope Gardens.
They offer a large serving of nature with a dash of history and science. Public gardens, created and maintained to educate Jamaicans on the importance of plant life. They also provide free green spaces to enjoy the benefits of the great outdoors. There are 4 such spaces on the island, all supported by the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. And after making our way through Bath and trekking through Castleton in the first part of our journey, we're now 4,800 feet above sea level. The Cinchona Botanical Gardens, located in the cool, moist hills of East Rural St. Andrew.
Cinchona was first established in 1868 by the then Governor Sir John Peter Grant. At that time, the gardens was used as an experimental location. Various plants from other European countries were brought here for medicinal purposes, like the eucalyptus, the camphor, and other herbs are grown up here.
Cinchona is unique as it is the only garden in the Caribbean at such a high elevation.
Cinchona got its name at the time when there was a malaria infestation on the island, and that Cinchona plant was brought to Jamaica by a governor of Peru. The Cinchona plant was used to cure the malaria by way of extracting the bark of the plant and transforming that into quinine. And they use that to work on the malaria.
There are no conservation programs at Zincona, but if you're feeling adventurous, make the hike and study an array of exotic plants on location, including the almost 200-year-old hoop pine. Our journey ends at the largest green space in the Kingston metropolitan area. Though run by the non-governmental organization Nature Preservation Foundation, it still receives a subsidy from the government and is free to the public.
Hope Gardens comprises of 260 acres stretching from Old Hope Road to Skyline Drive, but the actual gardens is mainly 60 active acres. The garden was a gift to Major Richard Hope, who was part of the contingency of Pennant Venables who came to conquer the island in about 1655 when the English invaded and took over from the Spanish.
Hope was an experimental site. They introduced exotic plants here and replanted them on the island once successfully propagated. Offspring of these plants remain in the garden.
We have the cannonball tree, which is native to the Amazon rainforest, that bears a fruit that takes 18 months to ripe, and it also weighs about 15 pounds. We also have the sausage tree, and that fruit can weigh anywhere between 15 to 27 pounds, and it really does look like a huge German sausage. The tree is native to West Africa, in Senegal.
Hope is vital in the conservation of the island's wildlife and flora.
We have a particular project in which we go to the cockpit country and get endemic plants, take them back to Hope Gardens, grow them and reintroduce them into the wild. The zoo also has a world-famous iguana project in which they have rediscovered the local Jamaican iguana, bred them successfully in captivity, and have introduced over 400 native iguanas into the hills of Hellshire.
This garden is usually bustling with activities. Family gatherings, professional photography, and school excursions are among the popular happenings.
The Chinese Garden is also a special place within the Hope Gardens. It was a gift, a $3 million US gift from the People's Republic of China to the people and government of Jamaica.
I like about Hope Gardens is that you are free. You can do anything you want. You can paint, you can play, you can go to the zoo, like see the animals.
My group came here because we have a history group project. We thought that coming to the Hope Gardens would be a good idea, especially on a Sunday, because on a Sunday it's quiet and I think it's very conducive to practice. There is greenery and it's an open space. So, you know, you get a nice fresh breath of air while you're here, and it's, I think it helps you to focus more on what you need to do.
Hope Gardens is a getaway for persons wanting a break from the hustle and bustle of city life. A visit to public gardens provides this opportunity. Nature beckons. What are you waiting for?
It's a season to share love and joy with friends and family, and we want you to stay healthy while doing it. Don't forget, COVID-19 is still here, so connect safe, stay home, sanitize, keep your distance. COVID-19 still a keep. Have a healthy Merry Christmas. Stay home, stay safe.
An important message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
We're now moving deeper into the country, getting more into the grit and the dirt. Experience a bit on the history of bauxite mining while learning about the process itself.
Bauxite has been a stallion in the economic development of Jamaica from 1952, when the country made its first shipment of the product. Pulled from the womb of our earth, labeled as the rich red soil, though closely resembling a burnt orange or reddish-brown color based on how your eyes see it. This precious mineral is conceived with the continuous fulfilled hope of bringing money, major investments, manpower, and however you put it, massive rewards to our island.
Bauxite is the ore from which the metal aluminum is extracted. Aluminum is a very, very important metal worldwide because of the lightweight and the fact that it doesn't corrode as easily as iron. The first shipment of bauxite was out of Ocho Rios by Reynolds Jamaica Mines in 1952. A year later, Kaiser also began exporting bauxite out of Port Kaiser in St. Elizabeth, and a number of other companies followed after that. Alcan set up their refinery at Kirkvine and were shipping bauxite out of Port Esquivel by 1954. Then the Alcoa plant at Halsall, and the last refinery to be built was Nain, Alpart refinery at Nain.
It was the beginning of the viable mining of the ore, and history tells us how its development filled the coffers of our small island home. Or did it?
Jamaica has been an important player in the bauxite industry since the 1950s. We were actually originally the largest producer. The important role of bauxite in our economy is the revenue that the country has earned over the years from the bauxite industry. Provide employment, we upgrade the work skills of our people so that we now have a lot of skilled workers in the bauxite industry. And there's a trickle-down effect on the economy because the more employment there is, the more spending power people have. In the 70s, the government began to play a more active role in the bauxite industry. So they began to acquire a piece of the action for the nation's benefit. And a levy was imposed in 1974 from which we benefited financially from production of bauxite. The government began to buy shares into some of these companies. Even though they were not the managing partners, we began to acquire a piece of the action for ourselves. The levy just allowed us to have a bigger piece of the pie.
And while the production of the mineral was still booming, by 1974 the country had taken a small step back to become the second largest producer of bauxite in the world, just behind Australia.
So Australia overtook us just by virtue of scale. It's a huge country with a lot of reserves and good quality reserves, easy to mine. In terms of production, we are ranked 6th in the world now, behind Australia, China, Brazil, India, and Guinea. So our production is in the region of about 10 million tons per year, and we're comparing to Australia that's producing in excess of 80 million tons. We have some challenges that these other countries don't have. For example, we are always mining in populated areas. So our industry has to always be mindful of the local communities and find ways to work with them in order to continue producing bauxite.
But despite that, the commercial mining of bauxite continues to be one of the most important contributors to the economic development of Jamaica, accounting for about 10% of gross domestic product, GDP. In addition to that, the industry represents one of the largest gross earners of foreign exchange for Jamaica.
As long as human beings require resources, they will try to extract it wherever they can. The consumption of aluminum is going up. So I see as long as we have reserves available here, I expect that mining will continue. For at least the next 30 to 40 years, we should have enough reserves to continue at our present capacity.
To properly carry out a hand rub, Apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
So after an eventful journey, let's clean up a bit, especially with COVID-19 still around. Today we're sharing with you how to make your very own homemade hand sanitizer.
Hi there, thanks for joining us. I know, like myself, some of you are working from home. As you can see, I've turned my dinner table into a makeshift office, and I always have my trusty hand sanitizer with me. It's finished, so we're going to make homemade hand sanitizer. We have a 4-ingredient hand sanitizer. The most important ingredient is alcohol, and it has to be 62% volume or above, and aloe vera, and we have vitamin E oil and an essential oil, just to make it smell nice. So follow me into the kitchen. First things first is to turn our aloe vera leaf into aloe vera gel. It's not going to have the same consistency as the aloe vera gel that you would buy in the store, but I trust this over store-bought because you don't know what they put in it. So first things first, wash it, and then we put it in our blender to smoothen it out. What we're aiming for is a 1/3 cup of aloe vera gel / juice and 2/3 cup of alcohol. We're doing it 2 to 1 because the most important ingredient is the alcohol. Now that we've blended our aloe vera, we're going to put a 1/3 cup of the aloe. Wow, my measurement is on point, man. Whoa, just right. But as I said, the main and most important ingredient is this right here, the alcohol. We're going to use 2/3 cup of alcohol to a 1/3 cup of the aloe vera. I have here my measuring cup, and I'm going to pour 2/3 of the rubbing alcohol into the cup. And I'm going to add a 1/3 of the aloe vera gel. For some persons, this will do, but for me, I want to add some vitamin E oil, so as to give a little more softness for the hands. So I'm going to put 2 to 3 drops of it because it's thick. As I said, this is optional, or you could use glycerin if you have it at home. Then the next one is the essential oil. I chose tangerine because I like that smell. And I'm going to add maybe 6 to 8 drops. And it's purely for cosmetic purposes. It doesn't add anything. As long as you have the rubbing alcohol, you should be good. Then I will just mix them together. In a clean container, after you mix the ingredients together, you pour. Now that we've made our homemade hand sanitizer, the only thing left to do is to try it out. Very moisturizing. Wow. It's very strong too. Smells a lot like the alcohol with a tinge of the tangerine. So you can try it out right there in the comfort of your home.
So much of today's show has been spent on the road, from our walk in the gardens to a trip on a mining ground. Well, the journey continues. But this time, we want to look at some recent steps government has taken to improve our roadways and transportation system. Here goes. Number 1, enhanced engine performance for JUTC buses. Cabinet has approved the award of a $251 million contract to supply the JUTC with the El Hydro Clean Oil Bypass Filtration System for its buses. Number 2, improving efforts of the ITA. The Transport Authority partnered with the Island Traffic Authority to expand the reach of its services for testing and licensing PPVs and commercial carriers in Westmoreland and then St. Mary after renovating offices in both parishes. Number 3, road licenses for bike owners. A policy decision has been made to allow bike owners to apply for a road license to operate a public passenger vehicle. And number 4, road repairs for smoother transport. Under the National Works Agency's Maintenance of Secondary Roads program, $17 million has been spent to repair sections of the Orange Hill roadway in western Westmoreland. The NWA has also repaired 5.2 kilometers of roadway from Guava Ridge to Content Gap in St. Andrew. As government works to make our roadways, traveling, and just life in general a bit better day by day, you too can build on those efforts by using our infrastructure with care. This is one way that we'll reach our Vision 2030 goal of making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. After all that learning, we put the final pause here for today's show. Thanks for sticking around the Jamaica Magazine journey. A refresher of yesterday's journey and others can be had through the JIS YouTube channel and website. Also visit the JIS's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more information. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.